She said, "If you're not jealous, do you even care?" While flirting with our friend. So I walked out. Now even her friends want nothing to do with her. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I thought I was building something solid with Samantha. We've been together for just over 2.5 years, lived together for about 1. I wasn't flashy or dramatic, but I was consistent. I worked a steady job in logistics, paid my half of the rent early, remembered her mom's birthday, and never missed a weekly dinner with her family unless I had a legitimate reason. When Samantha lost her job 6 months into our relationship, I was the one who floated groceries and helped her tweak her resume. When she had a falling out with her sister, I sat with her until 2:00 a.m. as she cried, barely saying anything because I knew she didn't want solutions, just presence. I didn't post long love paragraphs on Instagram or make public declarations, but I was always there. At first, she seemed to value that. She even joked once, "You're the calm to my chaos." But about a year into living together, something shifted. She started dropping little comments like, "Don't you ever miss the feeling of chasing someone? It's like we're already married. You don't even get jealous when guys talk to me." I thought it was just a phase. Maybe some insecurity or stress from the career changes she was going through. I did my best to reassure her, told her she was beautiful, that I trusted her completely. I even offered to plan a weekend trip just for the two of us, something spontaneous. She brushed it off. "That's not what I mean," she said. "I just want to feel desired again, not just secure." Those words stuck with me more than I admitted. Things escalated when Brandon started hanging around more. He was a mutual friend, the kind who made everything a joke, always loud at parties, cracking crude jokes, and competing with people over dumb things like who could shotgun a beer faster. Not my style, but I tolerated him because Samantha liked him. One night, we were at a house party one of our friends threw. I had just come back from grabbing drinks from the kitchen when I noticed Samantha and Brandon talking close. Too close. He said something and she threw her head back in laughter, that exaggerated kind people do when they want to be noticed. Then she touched his arm and looked over at me while doing it. I stood there for a moment. She was looking right at me while touching him. Later on the drive home, she was quiet, almost like she was waiting for me to say something. I didn't. I wasn't going to feed into whatever game she was playing. Back at the apartment, she finally broke the silence. "You didn't even flinch tonight." I was still trying to be calm. "What are you talking about? You didn't care at all that I was talking to Brandon like that." I blinked. "You were doing it for a reaction." "Tyler, seriously, if you saw me getting cozy with another guy and felt nothing, what does that say about us?" I looked at her stunned. "It says I trust you, or I did." She crossed her arms and paced a little. "You never get jealous. It's like you're emotionally asleep. Brandon got more riled up about a stupid card game than you've ever gotten about me." That one stung. I kept my voice level. "So now I have to compete with the drunk party clown to prove I care?" "Don't twist it," she snapped. "I just want to feel like I matter enough to fight for." I didn't say what I was thinking, that real love doesn't need to be tested like that someone who knows their love doesn't bait jealousy just to feel something. I just said, "I'm not going to perform jealousy for you. That's not love, that's insecurity." She looked at me like I didn't get it, like I was the broken one for not playing along. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't just confused. She was trying to break something just to see if it would snap. It didn't take long for Samantha to double down. A week later, we went to another party, this one hosted by one of her co-workers. I almost didn't go. I was tired, had an early shift the next morning, and honestly, things between us had felt tense since that last conversation. But she insisted. "It'll be good for us. You've been acting distant," she said while putting on eyeliner, not even looking at me. I wanted to say I've been distant because I'm starting to feel like a prop in some test you refuse to stop running, but I didn't. I just nodded and drove. The party was packed. Loud music, too much wine, a few people I vaguely recognized. I stayed near the kitchen, chatting with one of the guys from Samantha's office about football. When I turned around, she was on the living room floor dancing. Not just dancing, grinding with Brandon. She wasn't drunk. I knew her drunk face. This was calculated. She had one hand resting on Brandon's shoulder, her head thrown back again in exaggerated laughter like she was starring in a rom-com. He spun her around and her eyes met mine across the room. She smirked, not an apologetic smirk, a gotcha smirk like, "Do you care now?" I felt 100 things at once, anger, embarrassment, confusion, but mostly exhaustion. I was so unbelievably tired of feeling like this was a game I had to win to keep my own relationship. So I didn't say anything, I didn't make a scene, I didn't storm over and pull her away. I just walked out the front door, got in my car, and drove home. No texts from her, no calls, not even a "where are you?" Nothing. At around 2 a.m. I got a message. "Samantha, oh now you're jealous, finally." That's when I realized she thought she won something. She genuinely believed she'd unlocked some proof that I loved her by humiliating me. And instead of feeling guilt, she felt smug. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I did something I should have done months ago. I stopped explaining myself to someone committed to misunderstanding me. I turned off my phone, rolled over, and finally got some sleep. The next morning I woke up calm, not angry, not heartbroken, just done. I got out of bed, made myself some coffee, and sat at the kitchen table staring at the wall clock above the sink. The one we bought together on a random Target run like it was some cute relationship milestone. I remember she said, "This is our first adult purchase as a couple." It felt like a real moment at the time. Now I couldn't stop thinking about how far we drifted from that version of us. Samantha still wasn't home. I didn't need to wait for an explanation. I didn't want one. I already knew what she'd say, something like, "It didn't mean anything, you're overreacting, I was just trying to get through to you." I didn't need to hear it twisted into a lesson I failed to learn. I walked into our bedroom and grabbed my suitcase. Quietly, methodically, I began to pack, just the essentials, clothes, toiletries, a few personal items I cared about. I didn't take anything we bought together. Let her keep the couch, the TV, the bookshelf full of our memories. I wrote a short note and left it on the nightstand. "I don't compete for affection. Good luck, Tyler." I dropped my key next to it and shut the door behind me without a second thought. I went to crash at my friend Derek's place for a few days. He didn't ask many questions, just handed me a beer and let me sit in silence. When I finally told him, he didn't look surprised. "She's been testing you for a while," he said. "You just stopped playing." Exactly. I wasn't mad that she flirted. I was done because she wanted to hurt me to prove something to herself. She needed me to act possessive so she could feel valuable. I don't know what kind of love that is, but it sure as hell wasn't mine. The messages started 2 days later. "Samantha, I don't get it. You just leave. No conversation. Can we talk? You're being unfair now. Brandon literally means nothing to me. It was just flirting. No apology. No acknowledgement of what she did. Just complaints that I wasn't responding the way she expected." I didn't reply, so she called. 10 missed calls in one night. Then silence. Then again the next morning. Then her tone changed. "Samantha, you're being so cold. Is this what you do? Just shut down when things get complicated? Wow, I guess I was right. You never cared as much as I did." That was her pattern. Flip the roles. Make herself the victim. Paint me as emotionally distant while she was the one pushing me away for months. I didn't respond to those either. Then came the burners. She started messaging me from alternate Instagram accounts. One of them was named Fresh Start 2006. I laughed when I saw it. Nothing says growth like hiding behind a fake username to stalk your ex. She even got a couple of mutual friends to reach out. Megan. "Hey, Samantha's really hurting right now. Maybe just hear her out." Tyler. "So was I. She just didn't notice." That was the only message I sent about it. Megan didn't reply. And over the next few weeks, I noticed something else. The mutual friends stopped bringing her up altogether. I wasn't the only one tired of the drama. She burned more bridges than she realized, and I was already halfway across mine, walking into a quieter, better life. A few weeks passed. I'd moved into a small but clean apartment closer to work. Started hitting the gym more regularly. Ate better, slept better, peacefully. The silence was the first thing I noticed. No more walking on eggshells. No more decoding side glances or wondering if some half laugh at a party was supposed to mean something. just quiet. Samantha, on the other hand, didn't stay quiet. I heard through a mutual friend, not gossiping, just one of those casual updates that slips out that things between her and Brandon imploded within 2 weeks. Apparently, the moment she started treating him like a boyfriend instead of a prop, he bailed. He stopped responding to texts, left her on read, and blocked her on Snapchat. One night, she showed up to another party and tried to drunkenly confront him. Brandon laughed, told her to chill, and said, "You got what you wanted. You made him jealous. Go celebrate or something." Ouch. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel much of anything, really. Just a quiet, ironic satisfaction. That was the guy she chose to gamble our relationship on. From what I gathered, her friends had started pulling away too. People were tired of her constant need for validation. One girl apparently told her, "Not everything is a test, Sam. People don't like being set up to fail." That hit harder than any response I could have given. Meanwhile, she kept trying. The messages came slower now, but longer. "Samantha, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I know I pushed you. I just didn't know how else to get you to care. I never wanted to lose you. I was scared I didn't matter anymore. I thought if I could make you jealous, I'd feel chosen again." Still no apology, just more I felt and I needed, like her feelings justified turning our relationship into a psychological obstacle course. Then came the emotional bait. "You think you're the only one who hurt. Brandon was a mistake. I see that now. I miss you. I miss us. Can we meet one coffee? Just closure." I didn't respond. She switched tactics. "I guess it was always this easy for you to walk away. Maybe you're just a cold person after all." There it was. The same projection, the same guilt-tripping, like I was the problem for not coming back to play the game again. I didn't take the bait. What really sealed it for me was hearing from Megan again. She called one night and said carefully, "Tyler, I just want to say I get it now. I used to think you were being stubborn, but Sam, she's exhausting. Everything's a test with her. Everything's a performance." That hit deeper than I expected. Not because I needed validation, but because it reminded me how lonely I had felt in that relationship. Being gaslit into believing I was emotionally detached when really I was just tired of being poked and provoked into reacting. I didn't say much, just, "Thanks for saying that." Megan paused. "You seeing anyone now?" And that was the beginning of something new. But that's for later. Because first, Samantha would make one last attempt. The kind of desperate, awkward attempt that tells you everything about where she's ended up and exactly how far you've moved on. 3 months after I left Samantha, I got invited to a small birthday dinner for a mutual friend. Jordan, one of the few people who'd stayed neutral throughout the breakup. I almost declined, but then Jordan texted, "Promise it'll be low-key, no drama, just a few familiar faces." It had been long enough. I didn't owe Samantha avoidance. I wasn't hiding from her. I just hadn't thought about her in weeks. So I went, and I brought someone. Her name was Rachel. We'd been seeing each other for about a month by then. She was thoughtful, warm, didn't play games. Our first real conversation lasted 4 hours and never once involved veiled tests or emotional booby traps. We arrived a few minutes late. As soon as we walked in, I felt her eyes on me. Samantha sitting at the far end of the table, frozen midship with a glass of wine in her hand. Her smile flickered like a dying light bulb. Rachel leaned over and said quietly, "That her?" I nodded once. "Yep." Samantha didn't say anything at first. She just kept stealing glances. I ignored it. We all ate, laughed, made small talk. Rachel fit right in, easy, natural. At one point, Jordan actually whispered, "Dude, upgrade," and gave me a low-key fist bump. After dessert, Samantha finally made her move. I was helping clear the table when she slipped in beside me near the kitchen. "Samantha, didn't think I'd see you here." "Me. Jordan invited me. I almost didn't come." "Samantha, but you did, and you brought her." She glanced toward Rachel with that smile she used to reserve for people she was sizing up. "She seems nice." "Me, she is." Samantha paused, then gave a half laugh. "You look good. Healthier, I guess, happier. I've been thinking about us a lot lately." I didn't respond. I just kept wiping the counter. That seemed to bother her more than yelling ever could have. "I don't know. I feel like things between us just fizzled." she said, voice softer now. Like we didn't get proper closure. I finally turned to look at her, calm, steady. We didn't fizzle, Samantha. You set fire to things to see if I'd put them out, and when I didn't react the way you wanted, you called me cold. Her eyes widened a bit. I kept going. You didn't want love. You wanted proof. You wanted to poke and provoke until I snapped just so you could feel wanted again. I never wanted to hurt you, she said, voice shaky. I know, I said simply. But you did anyway, because hurting me was easier than admitting you were the one who stopped feeling worthy. She stood there for a second, stunned. Her lip quivered like she wanted to cry, but didn't want to do it in front of a room full of people. You're really over it? She finally asked. I was over it the moment I realized loving you meant constantly proving it, and I'm not auditioning for anyone ever again. Before she could answer, Rachel walked up beside me and gently rested her hand on my arm. Everything okay? I smiled at her. Yeah, just done cleaning up a mess. We walked out a few minutes later. As I glanced back, Samantha was still standing by the kitchen island, completely alone, no friends hovering, no Brandon in sight, just silence. And this time it was hers to sit with. I didn't block her after that. I didn't need to. There's nothing more permanent than indifference. I never heard from her again, but a few weeks later, Megan sent me a screenshot. Samantha had posted a blurry, cryptic quote to her story. Sometimes you don't know what you had until it's gone. And with someone else. No name, no drama. Just a quiet echo of a life she no longer belonged to. And I was too busy living mine to notice. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.